Welcome back, fellow coding facilitators. Jared O'Leary here with BootUp. In this video, I'm going to show you how to get started with using the ScratchJr projects in Scratch. Now, rather than jumping straight into the projects that are inside of this studio that will show you how to recreate the ScratchJr projects in Scratch, we actually recommend going a little bit slower. So in particular on our website, if you're going through this, we don't actually recommend starting with the lesson plans and jumping straight into using Scratch right away, especially not with Kinder. In particular, we recommend, if you're going to do Scratch with kindergarten, to actually spend the first semester just getting used to using the computer. So you will literally have to show kids how to click, or how to tap, or how to right-click, things like that, while using whatever device that they are using. Go slow, be patient. It's a worthwhile experience, but it goes a lot slower than you might actually think when you're doing this. While you are also showing kids how to get used to using the devices, you can actually get them started with learning how to engage with computational thinking and computer science. One way to do that is if you actually go look in any of the lesson plans, you can go to the Unplugged Lessons and Resources. So Unplugged Lessons are lessons that do not use a particular device. So you don't have to use Scratch or ScratchJr to do these. Now, in the first set of 10 or so projects for ScratchJr, we do have some suggested unplugged lessons that can help kids get prepared for these lessons. So if you are eventually planning on doing the Dancing Alone project, I would recommend starting with these unplugged lessons maybe in the first semester before you actually start using a device to code. Now, if you are interested in getting started with coding, you can actually go up to the Teach section of Codeorg, and this can show you some really simple things that you can do with some icon-based block programming languages that are excellent for kinder, first, and second graders. And I'll include a link to this in the description below. Now, if, however, you would like to get started with Scratch, and you don't necessarily want to get into the Scratch lessons that we provide, you can go click Create on Scratch, and you can actually start any of the tutorials that are in here. So when I did Scratch with the second graders that I worked with, I actually would spend the first quarter just letting them pick any one of these tutorials, and they would click on it and go, I want to create animations that talk, or that picture looks interesting to me. And they would simply watch these videos and go to the next step. So each one of these has text if kids are able to read. Otherwise, it has a GIF that shows what to do. So they're going to click, and then they are going to drag out or click on that particular block. Okay? So highly recommend, if you want to get started with this, before you start the Scratch lessons, the ScratchJr lessons in Scratch, is you can actually start with the tutorials, or you can start with platforms like Codeorg. Once you do actually get started with these particular projects in Scratch, I would recommend going at a slower pace. So for example, in the ScratchJr version of the Dancing Alone project, we recommend exploring the motion blocks for 5 minutes and then creating algorithms for 10 minutes. Maybe you want to double that when you're inside of Scratch, depending on what kind of option that you are choosing, whether you're using icons or motions. Okay? So you can use Scratch with younger kids. I personally use it with second graders and all year round, and I have also used it with first graders as well. But if you want to use it for kindergartners, we recommend waiting until the second semester and starting with the getting used to devices and unplugged lessons, or even platforms like Codeorg, just so they get used to using some of the icon-based codes and coding blocks before you actually get started with Scratch. Now, I recommend watching the next video that's in the playlist that's in the description below, which will show you some different things to consider when using the motion blocks inside of Scratch. Thank you so much for watching this video. Let us know something that you learned or created in the comments below. And make sure to subscribe, like, and check out the links in the description for even more free resources, such as videos, free lesson plans, and our podcast.